chance, can you let us know if you're here representing someone as a proxy? She may not be at her desk. We'll give that another minute. We are just one shy of quorum, Madam Chair.
Okay. I will perform stand-up, sitting down until everybody gets here. Just kidding.
I have a good dad
excellent.
joke I heard yesterday at the vet. Anybody want to hear my dad joke?
Please.
What is smarter than a talking bird? A spelling bee. It's like a perfect joke for a vet office, right?
Yes.
They had it on a chalkboard out in front of their office, and I thought, well, that's a keeper. Always nice to have a joke you can tell children in the back of your, in your back pocket.
Hopefully that wasn't charged on your bill.
I'm sure it
If
was.
you take the joke with you, that's $10.
I'm sure. Hi, Patricia. Thanks so
Hi,
much.
sorry about that. I was trying to get it to go.
That's okay. Are you here as a proxy for someone?
Yes, I'm the new victim advocate for Avondale PD, and Jenny Chavez is the one that usually is the proxy for here.
Jenny is also here.
Oh,
yes. Hello.
okay.
I meant to email you just to give you a heads up about Patricia being our victim advocate. She will be taking our seat on the council.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, you're both welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, you do have quorum now if you want to go ahead and start the meeting.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Let me just get my notes up in front of me. Here we go. All right. So good afternoon, members of the MAG Regional Domestic Violence Council. This meeting is now called to order. This meeting is being recorded and live streamed on YouTube as a way for members of the public to participate. For those participating via Zoom, which I think is the majority of us, please state your name when making a comment or asking a question. I'll ask that you keep your microphones on mute when you are not speaking. We will now begin the meeting with roll call of all the members. Kelly, you're on mute.
Thank you. My apologies. Let's start again. Celeste Adams. Zach Altman.
Present.
Thank you. Lupe Bandine.
Here.
Thank you. Emily Karen. Emily Karen. Looks like Emily's having a hard time with her microphone, but she is present for the notes. Jenny Chavez.
Here.
Thank you. Joshua Clark. Allie Klein.
Here.
Thank you. Christine Ellis. Jerry Friedel. Cindy Garcia. Laura Guild.
Present.
Thank you. Christy Hahn McDonald.
Present.
Thank you. Elizabeth Herbert. Sam Hinchey. Berdetta Hodge. Mary Lynn Kasanick.
Here.
Thank you. Patricia Clark. Sherry Loretano. Andy Lefevre. Kevin Mattingly. Thought I saw Kevin on here earlier. Nope. Amy Offenberg.
Here.
Thank you. Carol Park Aiden.
Present.
Thank you. Julia Gaddick on behalf of Chris Charlow.
Present.
Thank you. Melissa Thomas. And Kathy Tilkey. Madam Chair, you do have quorum. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Moving along in our agenda. Our next item is a call to the audience. This is the opportunity for the public to comment on items that fall under MAG's jurisdiction that are not on the agenda or that are on the agenda for discussion and not for action. Members of the community could submit written comments via the MAG website 2 hours prior to the meeting. Staff Do we have any written comments for this item or anyone wishing to speak from the audience?
Madam Chair, we do not have any comments on this item or any other items on the agenda today. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Our next item is the approval of the December 7th, 2023 meeting minutes. Do any members of the council have questions? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Ally Klein, I so move.
Thank you, Ally. Do you have a second?
I can second the motion.
Oh, Lupe's getting her fingers up there. Thank you, Lupe. We'll have Lupe be the second because I saw her signing it. So thank you. All right. So we have a motion and a second. Can I have a voice vote from members? Those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say nay. All right. Can we get a roll call taken from the members who did not participate by the voice vote?
Yes, Madam Chair, and my apologies that I did not call on you at the initial roll call. I meant to come back to you, so your attendance is obviously also noted. Again, my apologies.
Oh, no worries. Thank you.
I'm going to do a full roll call vote because with half the cameras on and half the cameras off, I had a hard time seeing who was voting for what. So we'll go real quick through this. My apologies. Zach Altman.
Abstain.
Thank you. Lupe Bendine.
Yes.
Emily Karen. Jenny Chavez.
Here.
Ally Klein.
Yes.
Thank you. Laura Gild.
Yes.
Thank you. Christy Hahn McDonald.
Yes.
Thank you. Mary Lynn Kasanik.
Yes.
Thank you. Christina Blay or Blee, are you here on behalf of Kevin Mattingly? Do not see you. Kevin Mattingly? Okay. Sam Hinchy?
Are we saying here or are we voting for something? I apologize.
We are approving the minutes.
Oh, approved. Yes, here. Got it.
Thank you. Amy Offenberg.
Yes.
Thank you. Carol Park Aiden.
Aye.
Thank you.
Approved.
Thank you. Julia Gaddick on behalf of Kristen Charla.
Yes.
Thank you. Chair DC Ernst.
Aye.
Thank you. Did I overlook anyone?
Kelly? Hi, this is Christina Blea. I'm sorry, I was having issues with my microphone. I am
No
here.
problem. No problem. Thank you so much, Christine. Is it Christine?
Christina.
Christina, thank you. You appear as Kevin Mattingly, so that was what our confusion was because we did have a quorum. We did have a proxy for him. So thank you for clarifying for us. We appreciate it.
Thank
Madam
you.
Chair, the minutes pass.
Excellent. So with that, with the motion and the second, it has passed. We thank you and the motion carries. Our next item is an update on the Teen Dating Violence Prevention Work Group. And I will be discussing that. So you're going to hear my voice a lot today. First of all, I apologize. So the Teen Dating Violence Prevention Work Group is continuing to meet. We're this month, welcome to Teen Dating Violence Prevention Month. I believe we had put out a notice that Bloom 365 is offering some courses this year. In fact, I know that we have some of our members attending that today, and we hope that they'll bring back their experience at our next meeting and be able to share that. We're continuing to work towards finding ways that we can impact teen dating violence, and we have encouraged our members here, as well as what we've presented on the Teen Dating Violence Proclamation to MAG Council and asked them to support this month's proclamation of recognizing Teen Dating Violence Prevention Month. We are always looking again for people to participate in the monthly meetings. They are on Monday nights at 7 o'clock. If you're interested, or if you know a teen who would be interested, please let Kelly know or myself know, and we'll make sure that we get the link to that meeting to you. I believe that's the update. If anybody has any questions, I'm open to questions.
Madam Chair, may I add one thing that we didn't really get to talk about yesterday during Regional Council?
Please do.
So Chair Ernst presented both at MAG's Regional Council and Management Committee to have the proclamation approved, which was great. The proclamation is important on its own merit, but it's more important in that we get before lots of city leaders across our region to remind them that teen dating violence is a concern and how they can participate and get their citizens involved in services. And I think one of the themes that has really been very apparent to me in the updating of our teen dating violence prevention website, which is a new addition to the MAG domestic violence website where we have a bunch of different resources listed, is that kids who grow up in homes where domestic violence is normalized become adults who find domestic violence normalized. And if you can capture those children when they become teens and they begin dating and correct the behavior and teach them that domestic violence is not a normal behavior, it is not an accepted behavior, you can break the cycle, for lack of a better nuanced term. And you can change that generation's understanding and ability to communicate during conflict, et cetera, and improve generations of families in the future. And so I think this work is critically important, and I appreciate the championship of Chair Ernst and others who participate in the work group. And we are always interested in including your organizations and also your city's work in that group if there is any ability to do so. So thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. Well said. And I appreciate you voicing that. You know, I'm sorry, I see your hand up. Ally, go ahead.
Sorry, I must have missed this, or maybe I lost my brain while I was having lunch. That could be. We have an approved petition that we could then take to council and have read in the month of February. Kelly,
We do?
We do?
Yes.
Yes. Will you be sending that out to us so I can send it to the mayor so he could have it in one of the 2 meetings this month?
Councilwoman Klein, we'd be more than happy to send that out to you. We did send a template after the December meeting that each organization could modify. We'd be more than happy to send you the finalized version that was passed through Regional Council yesterday, and also a template if your city would like to also do a proclamation.
Okay, I'm sure that they will. I just want to make sure that we have whatever I need to have so that when the mayor says, well, where is the official approved one, that I can send him the official approved one.
Certainly, we'd be happy to.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Our pleasure.
Patricia, I see that you came off mute.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries. I'm just trying to be attentive.
Okay.
So I also want to announce that there was an email that went out to everyone on the council that the city of Chandler will be conducting their proclamation on Monday, February 5th. And they did open it up for anybody who was interested to attend. So I look forward to being able to be present at that proclamation and join them in recognizing this need to voice and talk about teen dating violence. My interest in it came from a presentation, I think I've said this before, from Bloom 365 years ago to this council, but also in the fact that we're trying to end domestic violence. The council has addressed a lot of things after the domestic violence happens, and I wanted to make sure that we start focusing on where can we impact it at the front end, and how do we get there to make sure that we could eventually, hopefully in our lifetime, see that the numbers of domestic violence go down and eventually would be, of course, our dream. So again, I want to thank Kelly and Amy from MAG who helped put together the presentation that we provided to MAG Council, and for all their support in getting that proclamation moved forward and approved. So thank you. And with that, I just want to open it up one more time. Does anybody have any questions or comments? All right, so our next item will be an update from DES Adult in Later Life Grant by Jody Director. Jody, thank you for joining us. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Okay, so I do have a few updates. The Arizona Abuse and Later Life Grant Project is currently working on a 12-month no-cost extension period in order to spend down the remaining funds and to continue direct services, and then continue the CCRT meetings until September 30th of 2024. So during this extension, we started 2 subcommittees. One is on housing options for victims of late life abuse, age 50 and above, because that continues to be a struggle to find emergency housing and options for victims over 50 with limited income. We also created or started a faith-based subcommittee, and we named it, let me see if I get this right, Faith-Based Support for Victims of Abuse, age 50 plus. So this committee is working on networking with faith-based leaders, creating a list of faith-based communities in Maricopa County, creating some materials to share with leaders, and also pathways to discuss resources, as well as having discussions about elder abuse in their communities. So if you know of a faith-based leader that would like to collaborate with this group, or if you would like to join one of these subcommittees, please let us know. To refer a victim of late life abuse, we are asking people to call the 24-hour senior helpline through the Area Agency on Aging, because we do not have a housing specialist dedicated to the grant anymore. The Doves Mobile Advocacy Program is serving the victims to place them in a shelter or a hotel, whichever is appropriate at the time. The Doves program has been amazing because the mobile advocacy team is now working with the victims and providing many resources and support in addition to hotel stays when necessary. The OBW grant funds are limited right now until a budget modification to move all the remaining funds that will be unused to the Doves program for direct services. We're waiting for that to be approved by the DOJ. So as soon as this is approved, we'll be able to add additional grant funds to pay for hotels, incidentals, food, and or transportation until September 30th. Also, we're waiting for the solicitation from the continuation grant. So we're waiting for the OBW Abuse and Later Life grant to come out for 2024. And once that comes out, we will start writing a continuation grant, and that goes for 4 more years. And then lastly, I wanted to share some data with you because I just submitted the progress report from the last reporting period. So that some of the data is interesting. And if you'd like me to share, I have a document I can share with Kelly. She can share with everybody that kind of has the graphs and numbers, but might be easier to read that way. But I'm going to just share some highlights. So as of December of 2023, the grant has served 58 survivors and over 580 nights in a hotel. So victims of late life abuse have a safe place to stay in an emergency domestic violence, sexual violence, or elder abuse situation. There were 26 survivors in the last reporting period from July 1st to December 31st, 2023, compared to 23 survivors in the previous reporting period. In the last reporting period, there were 18 victims served and 6 partially served through Doves. So those partially served received support, and OBW funds were used to pay for food, clothing, incidentals, transportation, but no hotels. And in the last reporting period, 8 were survivors of sexual assault, 9 domestic violence, 2 were stalking survivors, and 7 were survivors of elder abuse or exploitation. Of those 26 served and partially served, 24 were female and 2 were male. 14 of the 26 survivors were aged 50 to 59, and 12 were 60 to 75. And then 6 of those had self-reported disabilities. So we also track their housing status prior to the abuse. And overall, since September of 2022, when we started direct services, 31% were homeless prior to the abuse, 47% were not homeless, 9% were in a shelter, 5% were in a hospital, and 8% of those are unknown. And then most importantly, we collected data on the housing outcome of each survivor from September of 2022 through December of 23 to track where they went after services were funded through the grant. And so of the 58 served and partially served, 2 of those survivors went back to their abusers, 15 went to a shelter, 4 went back to the streets and were homeless, 8 moved in with family or friends or moved out of state. 11 lived in a hotel. 6 moved into transitional housing or senior housing. 5 moved into a new apartment, and 7 of those were unknown. So I just thought that data would be interesting to share. And I have like spreadsheets and cute charts and everything to share with you that I can send to Kelly. So those are my updates. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Jody, for keeping us updated on all the great work that's being done for our seniors out there. As you're going for the grant, I do have a question. As you're going for the grant, is it possible to look at being able to provide the emergency services during non-business hours and seeing if there's I know that you have the 24-hour hotline.
Right.
It's been my experience though that getting someone into a hotel at 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning is not really possible, and an accommodation has to be made until the next business day for that individual potentially to be contacted and get into services.
It's my understanding that, I mean, they don't do it at 1 o'clock in the morning, but they are able to, do it in the evening or in the weekend. They have
Okay.
been able to facilitate that. Because one of the Dove staff is on call 24/7.
Okay.
So
If we can
Marianne.
get some clarification on that for the crisis response programs, you may know I run a crisis response program for the city of Phoenix. I would love to be able to get that information back out to my team members because I think there's a misunderstanding about the availability to access these services
Yeah, I mean,
since we often come into contact with individuals.
Yeah, I mean, someone's on call, but that doesn't mean that at 1 o'clock in the morning they're awake and able to do, maybe I can have Cindy Patterson talk to you about it. And there's some issues about I don't want to talk something about we don't have access to DV Stop, so we don't know where there are shelter beds. So it's better, I think, to go through DV Stop, and at least they'll have some place to stay for a day or two till we can work on something else, or like get them into a hotel or look at other alternatives. But staff were telling me earlier this week, or maybe it was the end of last week, that we're not considered a domestic violence shelter, so we don't know where DV Stop has shelter beds. It's something that we need to work on. But I'll have Cindy Patterson and probably Melissa Elliott call you and explain the frustration there that our clients don't qualify.
I think that would be beneficial if we're seeing these barriers to service, that as a committee, we can bring that forward. I think we do have individuals who are part of this committee who are not actually on today that are tightly connected with the DV shelter system. And I think that we could have a conversation. So maybe Kelly, if we could put something on the agenda and make sure that we have individuals from the domestic violence hotline present who can help guide us through this and help us figure out, like, are there barriers that as a committee we can make recommendations for or support if there's some need for grant funding to show that there is this support in our community to try to eliminate those barriers.
Well,
it
seems to me that if someone does identify a victim, regardless of their age, that they should go through DV Stop and get a place to sleep tonight, the next couple of days, until we can work on some alternative. I think, I don't know offhand, but I know a large percentage of the clients that we do serve do come from referrals from domestic violence shelters. Okay, so my staff have a great relationship with the domestic violence shelter. So when they get someone, that's entered into the domestic violence shelter, then they will notify our staff and see how we can then continue on what they need.
Thank you, Mary Lynn. I'm sorry, Samantha, I have one more comment and then I'll get to you. That's one of the things that I also want to see is if there's this disconnect between the city crisis response teams and being able to get that referral to Doves to make sure that individuals don't fall through the cracks. Samantha, thank you for your patience. I saw your hand up. Please, the floor is yours.
I guess I'm just curious because you still have to go through Safe DVS to like the phone number to get to DV Stop. And so I hope everybody knows that has not now been moved from New Leaf to Solari. Does everyone know that that's who, so November
I got to
1st.
tell you, I didn't know that.
Okay.
That is news to
Yeah.
me.
So, after year-long conversations, it was determined that Safe DVS would be better housed at with Solari. And so a New Leaf is not doing that anymore. The number is still the same. The number did not change. DV Stop is still under the New Leaf umbrella, so they're still doing DV Stop, but Solari gets a list of shelter beds, and the shelters are the ones that update it they have staff. They were supposed to have staff selected to update the list, so those Solari staff know where the shelter beds are. DV Stop just got a filler fund, so they had run out of money. Because with it going to Solari, we started seeing where the gaps kind of were. And so DV Stop was getting a lot of phone calls in the beginning, November and December. And so they came short with money. DES just gave them a filler fund, they give them money for the rest of the year. And so they are up and running again. So they should be able to take folks, but they're not taking, as far as I know, they're not taking calls individually. So you have to call that Safe DVS phone number and go through Solari to get those DV Stop to get that DV Stop support still. So we can definitely have a conversation about someone coming in and talking about the switch if you want to, and just give more more information. Someone here from ACES DV worked really closely on this and was the person who did all the meetings and all of that. And so we can, if Kelly wants to reach out, we can talk more about this later, but sorry, everyone didn't know about Solari.
I think I've been stuck in my office too long. I should probably get out and see the sun and see that things are changing. So
No,
I
totally
appreciate that update. And I know this is going past what this particular agenda item is. So if we need to move on, Kelly, let me know. But Laura, your hand is up. I'd like to honor your hand.
I just want to say that any victim of domestic violence that needs shelter, no matter what their age is, can contact appropriately as Sam just described it. And if there is room available, and that has been a big issue now for a couple of months, is the lack of capacity for DV programs, including the hotel motel programs. So there's no restrictions because of what the victim's circumstances are. So.
Or their age.
Correct. No restrictions.
Well, I appreciate this conversation. I'd like to continue. Like I said, I think it goes past what this agenda item was meant to do. Kelly, what are your thoughts on us just taking a quick, does everybody want this to be put on a future agenda item to maybe ask Solari to come and present on, and to continue to look at this issue of the need for continued support for shelter beds?
Madam Chair, I from an administrative perspective, I think we would be more than happy to invite Solari to the next meeting to ask them to clarify that. From a just general citizen perspective, if all of us sitting in the Regional Domestic Violence Council don't know that this is updated, the general public probably doesn't know that this has been updated. And so I think having the information in front of all of us so we can distribute it as widely as possible would be really key.
Excellent. Excellent. So we'll put that on the agenda. And Samantha, if you have a contact with Solari that you can share with us that we can reach out to and invite them, that would be awesome. If you can get that to Kelly, I'd appreciate it.
I can do that.
Thanks for educating me today. Yay! All right. Any other questions for Jody? Jody, we got so far away from you. I'm sorry. Any other questions for Jody regarding all the great work they're doing? Seeing none, I appreciate you again, Jody, for being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great job. And we do look forward to getting that data from you, and Kelly will share that out with our council members. Okay, next on the agenda is to discuss the misdemeanor domestic violence protocol model that was created by MAG's Domestic Violence Council and DV Protocol Evaluation Project. It strives to increase the efficiencies in arresting and prosecuting misdemeanor domestic violence offenders. The goal is to save the lives of domestic violence survivors and save money for the agencies responding to these crimes. An annual review of the protocol will determine if updates are needed and what steps should be taken next by membership this year. So I believe that this was attached to the invitation to this meeting. I hope that you had the opportunity to review it. I don't necessarily want to take the whole time today to review everything, but this protocol was last updated and approved in 2019. And as I was looking at the MAG website and just looking through everything that is on there, I thought, well, maybe we should address this again, because I don't know if anything has changed within police department responses, within how victim advocates and crisis responders should be addressing these issues. So I'm going to open it up for discussion. If you had the opportunity to review this, and if you have any comments on how we should, or if additional work needs to be done to update this in the future.
So Samantha Hinchy here. So I actually had my team and I, we kind of all looked at it together, and we do find actually a whole page worth of things that we think needs to be discussed to go over some more trauma-informed things and some questions that we might have. I'm more than happy to be on a subcommittee if that's what needs to happen, if that's what's determined, but just some questions that we had about this. So I don't want to take the whole time either going over all of that, but we just, if there's a subcommittee, and I'm in support of it so that I can be on it, because we have a lot to say actually.
Madam Chair and members of the committee, we would be more than happy to receive those edits, Sam, and to create a tracked change document that we could send out to everyone. It might be a more effective use of time, unless there is the desire to create a work group.
Totally fine with me. I totally support that.
Does anybody else have an opinion on the protocol or the idea of creating a work group to look at this more in depth? I think and I could be wrong, so if I'm wrong about who we have represented here today, one of, I think, who is not represented here or an agency is the police department. So I'm wondering if we need to re-engage with some police officers. I believe we do still have some detectives from Phoenix Domestic Violence Bureau assigned as committee members here, that we could maybe send it to them and ask them for their input and see if anything has changed for them. As you can see, when this initially started, there was a grant that assisted in getting this put together. And from the second paragraph, you can see the list of all the different agencies and different communities that participated in creating this. And I want to respect what they created, but also I want to continue to grow it as our needs in our community and the community needs change, as well as policing has changed, I think, since 2019 and in so many different areas. I want to make sure that we're updating what the protocol model would be. Not to mention, Brandy is not in the MAG offices, so if you're trying to reach out to her, you may not find her there. So at least changing some of that. Anybody want to, is anybody interested? Sorry, Laura, go ahead.
Sarah Guild has her hand up.
I just want to say, there's two things here I'm curious about, and I don't want to make this bigger than what your intention was, but is it just looking at language and it's okay, or is it any kind of assessment of the effectiveness and the use of this protocol? Because it's been out there for a long time, but I don't know that there's been any attempt to query or evaluate its effectiveness. But that could be a whole separate thing than what you intended in putting this out to everybody. So
Well, I would agree. It is more than I intended, but it's worth talking about. So I guess the question would be, is there the ability of MAG to perform an evaluation like that? What would the cost be? What would the intensity be of what we're asking our MAG staff to do as far as time and effort?
Madam Chair, members of the committee, I do not currently have funding for an evaluation, but that is not to say that I won't. I would be happy to take it to executive leadership and ask. I would like to have more conversation about the scope of what that evaluation would look like, so I can try to take as much detail as possible to higher level decision makers.
Well, it could be simple.
Laura?
It could be simple. I mean, just like a quick survey or something like that. Kelly, understand this could, if you're truly doing an in-depth evaluation, this could be a huge project, but just some kind of feedback mechanism, I guess.
We would certainly be capable of doing a survey. We could send the survey out to, we have several hundred people who've signed up for our domestic violence updates through MAG. And so we could even send it out through them and ask them about their familiarity with the protocol and see if they're using it and or if they have any other concerns or feedback that they would want included, and just see how it goes from there as an initial pass. And we would be more than happy to bring that back to the next meeting and then present the findings to you all and see where you want to go from there.
Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate MAG and your staff stepping up to create that create that survey for us. Is everybody in agreement that they would like to see the survey conducted and have the information brought back? I'm seeing head nods. That's good enough for me. All right. So Kelly, if you can run with that, that would be awesome. I even saw some head nods for people who didn't have their camera on, because I've got really good vision.
We would be happy to, Madam Chair. And Sam, I would look forward to those comments that you have. Thank you so much. And anybody else who has any comments or feedbacks about the current protocol, we would be happy to incorporate those.
So connected to this and the previous agenda item, teen dating violence, I've always wondered if something like this could be created for teen dating violence as well. So maybe that can be a topic that we can discuss in the future as well. And again, sorry, Kelly, I know I jump around a lot.
No, I think we're not recreating the wheel at that point. We already have a model that we could ideally modify depending on current best practices.
Thank you. All right. Without seeing no other questions or thoughts on that, we'll go ahead and continue moving on. The next item is item number 7, which will discuss work underway with the City of Phoenix Domestic Violence Fatality Review Team, known as DVFRT. The team meets for 1 year to review domestic violence cases or a domestic violence case. They create a report that includes recommendations for system changes and improvements, as well as updates on the implementation of previous identified recommendations. Domestic violence call, as we are all probably aware, represent one of the most frequently violent related calls for service that Phoenix and other, I'm sure, police departments respond to. So my thought as far as like, again, more action that this committee could potentially look into, where we could make a change and impact our community, is what is everybody's thoughts on potentially asking other communities as well as the city of Phoenix for us to review their domestic violence fatality review report, look at what maybe some commonalities and recommendations for changes and improvements in the system, and then determining what can we as a committee move forward and support in a way to make those items happen. And again, with that, I'd like to open this up to discussion on everybody's thoughts on that idea.
Madam Chair, may I ask a question?
Please, Kelly.
Do all municipalities have a fatality review board? Maybe the individuals who are representing municipalities here,
They do not.
Okay, so is it
Yeah,
just?
and Samantha's shaking her head no as well.
Okay,
So just really quickly.
So I'm aware of an East
2021.
Valley and a West Valley group. Sorry, Samantha, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say, like, in 2021, Cochise County was the only one to turn one in. And stuff, and so like I think that COVID really put a damper on a lot of them around the state. I know I've been asking for another one, so I'm on the Cochise one. I'd love to be on a Phoenix one, but I didn't know that we had one. So if anyone has information about that, I would love to be on it. Or like Maricopa County. But I know Pinal County has been, like, I've been asking for one in Pinal County because there used to be one, there isn't anymore. I feel like Coconino has one though. I feel like they do. I'd have to check, but I think maybe they're slowly coming back, but they've been kind of out of commission around the state for a while.
are they typically by county and not by city, Sam?
The ones I like, the two that I used to sit on Pinal counties, and that one was by county, and then Cochise is by county.
Thank you.
It's my understanding, Kelly, that within Maricopa County, like Phoenix has had theirs, and again, I agree with you, Samantha. COVID impacted the city of Phoenix domestic violence fatality review team, and they've just become active again late last year, I believe, and are continuing. And I'm on the panel, I'm on the council, so and we are meeting to review a case. My understanding, like the East Valley and the West Valley had one, and I think they combined potentially different police or victim advocacy groups to look at it. Laura, I see you nodding your head.
East Valley kind of went inactive even pre-COVID. And it was a combination of Mesa and Tempe and Chandler. It had several police departments on it. So it was active for many years, but then it was challenging having that many police departments involved in one, but they had one. I don't know about West Valley.
So maybe our first thing is to figure out like who still has them and who are they reporting them to? Because my recollection and is that and maybe Christina can provide a little bit more clarification on this, is that the city of Phoenix eventually submits it to the AG's office. Is that correct, Christina, if you remember?
Yes, that's correct, DC. We do.
So maybe we could check with the AG's office just to see if they're getting any from any communities within Maricopa County other than the city of Phoenix, and then we can look at that. Or even if they've posted ones previously, maybe we can review those. Again, I'm just open. I'm throwing things out because I want this committee to continue to look at, you know, what the goals are and have some active opportunities to make change.
That's a great idea, DC. This is Christina, and I will definitely contact the AG's office to see what I can find out. And I will provide that information to Kevin and he can share it with you at the next meeting.
I appreciate that. Yeah, and we'll ask Kevin to also share it with Kelly so Kelly can get it out to everyone in this committee.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I appreciate you stepping up and offering to do that for the committee. Thank you so much. All right, does anybody have any other thoughts on reviewing domestic violence fatality review teams reports and potentially seeing how we can impact our community using those? All right, well, I appreciate you guys considering that as an opportunity. And we're going to move right now to item number 8, which is the request for future agenda items. Are there any requests from council members on any future agenda items? Unfortunately, like I said, some of our members are not here because they are attending Ability 365's training today. I know that former chair Anita Norton is at that. If we can put on the agenda item, the ability for anybody who attended that to present what they experienced and anything that they would like to share about that, I'd greatly appreciate that being on the agenda.
Madam Chair, can I back up just
Yes, Kelly.
one item? I apologize, had to step away for just a quick moment.
Yeah.
Our domestic violence, regional domestic violence website on the MAG pages on the MAG website, we could easily develop a section where we could list the domestic violence fatality reports around the state on our site. If that would be of interest, we could be a go-to for that information if there's any interest there. I think it might be helpful for listening to the conversation for the council if we did set that up, because then we would be able to regularly review the recommendations coming out of those reports as they were annually reviewed and establish those relationships with the entities creating the reports. Just as a thought. And again, that's one of those administrative tasks that would not take our team a ton of time, but may provide the community additional resources.
I like the idea, Kelly. I know that we talked about the Phoenix one goes to the AG's office. I think the AG's office used to post them, but it's been a while since I even got on their site. I like the idea. I guess we would just need to know, is there any violation in posting someone else's report would be my only thing. But
the other thing we could do is we could just post the section of the report that talks about how they're encouraging improvements in the system. So it doesn't necessarily have to be the complete report or anything that would be identifying information. It could be, this is the summary of recommendations that came out of the report to try to improve the system.
Okay, Allie, it looked like you came off mute. Did you have something you'd like to say?
Or even a link where people could go to get further information. You could have the summary and the link, so people who wanted other stuff we wouldn't be posting their report. We would be just posting where to get to their report. So that could be okay. And the other thing I was going to mention that you had already mentioned something that could go on a future agenda item. So I didn't want to restate what we had before, that you were going to bring back to us some information. So.
Thank you. Laura?
Well, Sam, I was going to ask you, I don't recollect the statute, but it's pretty clear in statute, the protocol for disseminating these reports. And I thought that it goes to the coalition as the final step, because you are the ones that can make it public and use it for any kind of improvement. So I would assume once it goes to the AG's office and they've approved it, it becomes a public document. So, and we would only be interested in those within Maricopa County also. Is that correct, Kelly?
I did not mean to step on the coalition's toes. So the coalition is already gathering.
Well, that's why I'm trying to remember. It's been a while since I've tracked that. So
I was just trying to find an email from the AG's office and I found it. I was going to forward it to Kelly. But it says, in this email, it says the Arizona Attorney General's office is designated distributor of the annual domestic violence fatality review reports. And so that comes to the governor, our CEO, the the Post, AZ Post, so the law enforcement. So so it went to the governor, it went to the Secretary of State's office, it went to the courts, it went to AZ Ledge, folks over there, it went to Jenna, and then AZ Post. So that's who they distribute it to.
When you say Jenna, you mean the coalition?
Yes, I apologize, Jenna. Yeah.
Okay.
So it
So I
does
don't know
not
if we-
appear like the reports are actually published ever on the AG's website. They're
Okay.
just receiving it. and-
Distributed. They're distributed, but if it goes to the Secretary of State's office and it's going in the archives, the library, it's public information. So I would imagine you all could further distribute it once it's been sent out, but you know, that would have to be checked out.
More work, which is good. So Kelly, I like the idea. Let's look into it a little bit more and see what we can do about that. I do like the idea of being able for the community to see like what are the recommendations and where do we need to continue to work on meeting the needs.
It sounds like Sam and I need to go get some coffee.
It's a good plan.
Let me know where you're going. I'll meet you there. Just for the
Right.
coffee. I won't interrupt. I'll try not to interrupt the
Sounds
conversation.
great. Madam Chair.
I have some ideas. We'll talk offline. All right. So I appreciate that. That's a great conversation. I really appreciate you guys to giving us your feedback. Kelly, thank you for these great ideas that you continuously bring to this. I appreciate you. So without, I'll ask one more time, any other questions or comments on item number 7, which is the fatality review team reviews? All right, so nobody come off mute. Again, Christina, thank you for your offer, and we're still taking you up on that. I haven't forgotten that. So moving to number 8, again, we'll open it up for requests from council members for any future items. Ali, did you say you had one, or did you say we covered it? Okay. I know.
No, what I was saying is you covered it earlier in the beginning where we were talking about having something on the agenda, so we didn't, and you covered it, so we're good.
All right, thank you. Anyone else have any ideas for future agenda items that they would like us to look at? Or presentations that you guys have seen that you think would help the council move forward? All right. All right, going to number 9 then. The next item is comments from the committee. I know Kelly would like to share an upcoming ACES DV event. So Kelly, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And with Sam here, Sam, please feel free to jump in. But we did receive notice this week that ACES DV will be having their annual event in August of 2024, and they are looking for speakers at their event. I would really encourage you as a voice in the domestic violence community to apply to be a speaker, to share your interest in this work. The applications are due by March 1st. We will go ahead and send out the information for that call for speakers with our follow-up from today's meeting for everyone as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. Good luck, Samantha, with that conference, and let us know how we can support you. Excellent work.
Just come to
So
just come to the
does anybody
conference.
else have any comments or announcements from the membership? Any other announcements you want to make? Weddings? No, just kidding. We talk about happy stuff sometimes too, right? All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for attending today. The next regional council meeting is on April 4th at 2 o'clock. And with no further business today, we'll go ahead and adjourn.